Hi, good morning. This lesson is rules of exponents. So we're going to start with the basic rules, and the first is the zero exponent rule. And what that says is anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. So x raised to the power of 0 is 1. 7 raised to the power of 0 is 1. Anything raised to the power of 0 is going to be 1. Okay, the second one is the negative exponent rule. And that is we cannot leave negative exponents in our answers. So x raised to a negative 1, you just simply put the power in the bottom. So it'd be 1 over x to the power of 1 if you wanted to write it that way. But usually we're not going to write the 1. But here's a better example. 4 raised to the power of negative 1 would just be 1 over 4. Okay, the product powers rules. We take anything that has like bases. Here we have x to the m, okay, right here, and x to the n. So since our bases are both x, we simply add the exponents. So it becomes x to the m plus n. Here's an example number. We have x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 3, and so we simply add the exponents. So it becomes x to the power of 2 plus 3, which is x to the 5th power. And then the last one here is the quotient power. So if you have two like bases, so we have an x to the power of m and an n to the power of m, and you simply subtract. So in this one here, we have x to the 6th divided by x to the 2nd, and that's going to become x to the 6 minus 2 or 4. Let me go ahead and give you one. I'm sure we'll see it later, but let's try this. What if I said x to the power of 4 over x to the power of 5? Well, the rule is that would be x to the 4 minus 5, and you would get x to the negative 1. So your final answer was you would have to put 1 over x. Again, the negative exponent always has to be moved out. Okay? So let's look at some examples where you use this. So here's an expression. X to the power of 7 times x to the power of 2. We'll use the product power. Because they're like bases, we just add. So it's x to 7 plus 2, which is the power of 9. Quotient powers, y to the power of 9 divided by y to the power of 5 just becomes y to the power of 9 minus 5, and that's how we get y to the power of 4. P to the power of 0, again, anything raised to the power of 0 is simply 1. And then our last one, x to the power of negative 5, we just simply put the exponent in the denominator. 1 over x to the power of 5. Okay, now you try. We do have the answers here for you, but let's look at it one more time. We have z. Let me get a color. I'll use blue. Z to the power of 8 times z to the power of 9. The bases are both z, so you use the product of powers and just add 8 and 9, and you get z to the power of 17. Then we have a quotient power. We have x to the 11th divided by x to the 10th. And so 11 minus 10 is 1. So you just have x to the power of 1. Erase that a little bit for you. Okay, so now we'll go to the negative exponent rule. And we have 7 to the power of negative 2. And so that just becomes 1 over 7 to the power of 2. Now we would go ahead and simplify that because we know 7 squared is 49. So your final answer would be 1 over 49. The zero exponent rule, y to the 0 is 1. And then the power of products, w to the power of 3 times w to the power of 3. Again, we have like bases, w and w, so we simply add the exponents. And this is just w to the power of 3 plus 3. It's a 5. That's a 3. And you get w to the power of 6. Okay. I am going to pick one and do it with you. They look slightly different, so let's look at this one here. Okay, so we have 10 to the power of 2, and then that is over parentheses 2 times 5, and then all being raised to the power of 2. But let me go back, and it looks like that's a 3. Sorry. Okay. No, that is a 2 as well. Okay, let me fix that. It's hard for me to see here. Okay, so here's what we got. 10 to the power of 2. It's all in parentheses. And then we have 2 times 5 on the bottom, and then all being raised to the power of 2. So first, think of your PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So the first thing you want to do is what's in the parentheses. So that says 2 times 5. So we're going to have 10 squared over 10, all being raised to the power of 2. So now we can distribute this power to the top and the bottom. So we're going to have 10, 2 times 2 is 4, over 10 to the 2. Now you can use your subtraction or your division, which is going to say 10. Those are like bases, so we're going to say 10 to the 4 minus 2. So our final answer would be 10 squared, and you would want to simplify that to 100. So please do the rest of row 1 and row 2 and turn that in, and I hope you're having a good week.